All right. So, dilemma time.
Hmm.
What have we got here? Oh God.
Uh-oh. That was a big sigh.
Well, I'm sure it will make sense as we get into it. Subject line is, I'm holding everyone up while falling apart.
Ay.
I'm not sure why I picked this one.
I get it now.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Hi, Undo ladies. First off,
Hi.
thank you. I stumbled across the podcast a few months ago, and it honestly felt like someone had finally put language to some of the mess I've been trying to suppress. I never thought I'd be the type to write in, but here I am. So, by day, I work in learning and development at a large public sector body. It's fine, not life-changing, but decent colleagues, interesting enough projects, and relatively good flexibility. But by night, and early mornings, lunch breaks, and every spare brain cell, I'm a carer. My dad had a stroke last year, and although it wasn't totally out of the blue because he has a few long-term health issues, it still turned our world upside down. Mum's around, but she's not in great health either, and emotionally struggles with all of it. So most of it has fallen to me as my little sister is away at university. Appointments, medication schedules, physio sessions, chasing up social care, helping him with basic stuff. I don't resent it, I really love him, but I'm exhausted and starting to resent the situation. What's hard is that nobody at work really knows the full extent. They know I've got some caring responsibilities, but I downplay it. I'm scared that if I'm too honest, I'll be seen as unreliable or not committed. I already feel behind on everything. I'm not doing any training or development. I'm not going for internal promotions. I'm not networking. I feel like I've hit pause on my career, and the longer it goes on, the harder it is to unpause. Outside of work and home, things just feel a bit thin. I love my friends, but I've pulled away from most of them. It's not that they don't care, it's just hard to explain what life feels like right now without making everything awkward or heavy. I'm single and dating feels impossible. Who has the headspace to flirt or be charming when your days are spent holding everyone else together? More and more, it feels like I've built a life that doesn't leave much room for me. Sometimes I want to scream because I feel invisible. Everyone keeps saying, you're doing such a great job holding everything together. And I want to say, cool, but can someone hold me now? Anyway, I don't know what the question is. Maybe it's just, how do I keep doing this without falling apart? Thanks for reading, Simran. You might need to go first on this one.
Simran, I have a question for you. What happens to all the things that you're holding together if something were to happen to you? I know it sounds a little bit dramatic when I say it's a matter of life and death, but it is a matter of life and death. It's not just about you holding things together. It's what it's costing you to do that. You're super hyper and understandably focused on holding things together, but you're not counting the cost of what that means for you. You have some awareness, right? When you say things like, things feel a bit thin, you're pulling away. But I don't think you've really come to terms because, you say, how can I keep doing this without falling apart? There's some things, right, that you have to, it needs to be a bit more clear cut than that. Is, can I keep doing this without falling apart? Yes or no? So it's not a case of how can you continue. It's a case of something needs to change, and it needs to be quite a drastic change because you don't want to get to a point where, that's saying jump before you're pushed. You made the right call by your subconscious. You already know something isn't right. You already know you need to do something. But I think the question for is, are you prepared to actually do the thing you need to do? Because we know life is shades of grey, but there's some things that are kind of black and white, right? Either you are well or you are not well. And if you're doing things that will lead to you to continually not to be well, there'll become a point where the things that you're even doing, you can't even do them anymore because you're not capable of doing it. So before you get to the point of no return, to the point where you then now have to, you then now have to like be in a position where people are now having to support you in addition to all the guilt and the responsibility you feel for your father. Before you get to that point, you need to determine, how can I stop this trajectory I'm on does not lead to anywhere that is going to be beneficial for anyone, including yourself, in the long run. How do I change from that? And again, we say every single episode, but I will say again, you need to seek help, professional help. You need to speak to someone, because you said it, like you put away from your friends because you can't, you don't want to make things awkward and having to explain. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to even keep up that with friends. I understand that completely. That's why a therapist is so helpful. That is a single person. They're going to brain dump all of their stuff and, all of it onto that one single person who you can then keep going back to and having them help you process and go through the things that you need to go through. I can't just come out and say, do X, Y, and Z. I don't know the full context of your life, right? I don't know what it's like to be you day in, day out. What I do know is that the things that you're doing have a cost. And ultimately, when the bill comes due, everything that you've worked hard to hold together may end up falling apart. And you don't want that to happen. And so you need to start taking care of yourself now. And the first thing to do is to speak to someone. You have like you said, you didn't even ask a question, right? You have a lot to get off your chest. You have a lot to get off your mind. Start with that. And then let that be the first step, I would say. And then you can now start unpicking things later. But really what you need now is someone to speak to and lean on emotionally. And I would say there's nothing better for that than a therapist. That's why I'll get therapy for this one, for sure, more than anything else.
Which nobody could have seen coming.
There are some things I have to, you see, there's some things, Dulcie, right? That even, we talk about our dilemmas. There's some things that are just super, super heavy, especially when it comes to the health of a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, I have a crush on my boss, or do you see, this is really heavy stuff. And it comes a point where I think one of the things that comes with growth is not just being able to do more things, but knowing when something is past you. Identifying when something is bigger than you and seeking the help that you need that way. And therapy has really helped me to understand that quite well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so Simran, I massively identify with where you are. So I'll kind of go through all the things that you've mentioned in your letter. But before any of that, I just want to say thank you for writing in and for trusting us with something so important and sensitive. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can be of some help or comfort to you. As a carer and someone who works full time, one way of looking at this is that you've got two jobs. You've got your 9 to 5 and you've got your 5 to 9 and everything in between, right? But only one of them is recognised as a job. Mm-hmm. And with the other one, it's not as simple as clocking in and clocking out. You don't clock off. There's no perks. HR. There's no annual leave, right? It's really tough. And you get to a place when you are holding everything together for your dad, for your mum, and also it sounds like you've got this kind of protective shield for your sister, so that she can be at uni and still be that person enjoying that stage of life, which again is so wonderful and loving of you, and you are a deeply loving person, that's evident. But while you are holding everything together for everybody else, you start to internalize this idea that anything less will mean that you're letting people down. But what I think you might have forgotten is that you're a human being, just one person, and you are that before you are useful. Your worth is not based on how much you help or are of use to other people. You are worth care, tenderness, love, space, security, all of those things without doing anything for anybody else.
Yes.
With the work situation, and I've had some I've had when my situation happened, I was still visiting in hospital. It had just happened when I got a call from my line manager. Well, a message from my director via my line manager the week after, when things were still really up in the air, asking how long is it going to take? When am I going to be back?
What?
Yeah, and I'll never forget it. Years later, that same director tried to pass an apology through me to other people, and up until now, it's not one I'll ever accept because she experienced something similar with her own father. So it's just like, you know what? Fuck you and fuck that apology until the end of time. And I normally will take an apology if it's meant earnestly, but there are some things that you don't forget, and there are some things that are really hard to forgive.
And it's not an excuse for lack of empathy, right? Like, just because it hasn't happened to you does not mean
Doesn't
it's
mean
not an
I
excuse for you not to be able to empathize, or
yeah.
at the very least sympathize with
Just
someone,
but, you
right?
know, when you are a sociopath, I suppose that comes quite difficult.
Yeah,
But anyway.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
But then I've been in other environments. In fact, any other work environment I've been in has been so incredibly, accommodating and helpful. And I've experienced, because of being open, an immense amount of love and support from my colleagues. So I can't say what your work environment is like. If you have a fear about being open because you think it'll change how people see you, I'm sure that's based on something. And you're in the public sector. I'm assuming by your name that you're a woman of color. Um, it's it's understandable to me that you might feel like being open about this stuff will put you in a place of being seen as vulnerable or unreliable. There are places and people who will take caring responsibilities as a shorthand for being less ambitious. The same in a similar way that they will with mothers, you know, people who have just had a kid or are pregnant or whatever, right? So I can't possibly say how your environment will react, but I would still advocate for you to tell somebody, um, perhaps someone within HR, just to see what accommodations can be made. So there are lots of places that will have some kind of ability to make some structural adjustments for you, right? So if you are speaking to HR, and you could say something like, I'm committed to my role, but I'm also managing a significant caring load at home. I'm not looking for special treatment. I just need some understanding about capacity, you know, just like talk to, maybe HR is probably the right way to go with it as a first conversation to have. Um, you know, I wouldn't necessarily just tell on your person or your boss or line manager if you don't fully trust them. Or if you want to talk to your line manager, maybe have an HR rep in that conversation as well. But just see if they're able to offer any structural adjustments like one day working from home. I don't know if you're hybrid or what the current work situation is, but if I assume you're in office, like, can you work from home, or, you know, can you get flexible hours? Can you do some asynchronous catch up so that you're not in as many meetings? Can there be a better process for prioritizing your workload? These kind of things, right? They're not doing you a favor, mind you. You're still doing your job, but it's about how to accommodate your other responsibilities, because those aren't going anywhere. That's just the reality of it, right? As hard as that is to deal with it, that's just what it is. But I totally understand you being nervous about talking. So I'm hoping that's helpful to think about a useful way of sharing in the office space in order to lighten the load a little bit. It still maintains your. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy. I think you still want to maintain your privacy, but secrecy is going to eat you up. If no one knows really what's going on and they just keep loading things on you, they might unintentionally be pushing you into burnout, right? Or pushing you into a breakdown. So try and protect yourself while maintaining privacy. There was something here you said that, oh, where's it gone? Here we go. Pause. Yeah, I'm not doing any training or development. I'm not going for internal promotions. I'm not networking. I feel like I've hit pause on my career, and the longer it goes on, the harder it is to unpause. You haven't paused your career. Your circumstances have paused your career. You didn't lose your ambition. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't know why I lit incense before doing this so I could just get even more shit. Sorry. You didn't lose ambition. You just lost capacity because you can't remember what I said. You're a human. You can't do it all the time. You're not falling behind because you're not able to match the pace that you were moving at professionally, right? You're just in a different season. It's hard. It's hard as hell. It's demanding of you in ways that are so complex and emotional, but it's a season.
Yeah.
There's going to come a time, this too shall pass. I tell myself that almost every day. This too shall pass. There's going to come a time again when your life will expand. That will happen. But right now, you're in a what's that word I'm looking for? It's contracting, and that's okay. That's just what it is right now. So if you hold on to the fact that it's a season, it's not permanent, and to dial up this aspect of caring for your father, I'm going to have to dial down this thing. You know, don't feel like you're being taken away with it. Yes, the circumstances have created a situation that you didn't foresee, but actually feel empowered in that you're making active choices now, not permanent choices, but you're making active choices to do the needful without losing yourself. I think what you have to try and let go of is trying to be the same old Simran plus all this additional stuff. Girl, you can't do it all. You can't. The friend thing, this one's tough. I really struggle with this myself. Like a lot of people, unless you have been a carer, it's really hard to understand the weight and the gravity of it and how heavy everything feels when you have that kind of responsibility and how incredibly lonely you feel. But it's so important, you know, you have good friends, to try your best to lean into those friendships. And even if you don't want to talk about what's going on, or you don't want to use that space in the friendship to sort of go on about the stuff with your dad, maybe it's a space to not be Simran the carer. Maybe you allow your space, that's a space where you don't have to be responsible. You deserve that, right? I like to think of it as like, as a carer, I think emotionally different things open up. And I think there are different stages in life where you learn new languages. What would I say? Okay, here we go. It's going to sound really wanky. You become emotionally multilingual.
Oh my God. You're right.
Okay. You're right, girl. Oh, God. No, but what I mean is, like, I think when you become...
We're going to start seeing that phrase on LinkedIn.
If someone takes this from me, I'm going to slap them. Sorry, that wasn't very healed language. But it is. I think there are points when you become emotionally multilingual. You learn new emotional languages that you don't even understand the basic grammar of until you've been in that place. I think being pregnant, having a baby, losing a baby, grief, falling in love, falling out of love, having your heart broken. I think all of these things are points in your life. Caring for somebody else are points in your life when you learn a new emotional language. And it's no one's fault that they haven't learned the language because they haven't been through it. And it becomes really tough sometimes because you having learned that language, are very conscious of it. While they, as much as they're like, I like the sound of that language, or that's an interesting language, they don't get it though. You might be saying, oh my God, like, I'm done. And they're thinking it sounds like she's strong. She's celebrating her strength. They don't get it. But you do deserve to be held, to be seen, to be understood. So I suppose the long and short of it is, don't lean all the way out of your friendships. Decide if you have friends you feel like you can trust, who you can try and maybe translate some of what you're experiencing to them, and that you can allow to let them help you and be a support to you as good friends want to be, then share more with them. Or if you want to use your friendships as an escape where you're not Simran the carer, do that too. But one way or another, I think it's really important to not allow further isolation. You're already isolated because of what you're having to do day to day. And there's nothing that's going to change that until things improve. But what you don't want is further isolation from your friends and the things that make you feel good. And I think you can bundle into that anything around like hobbies and fun and that kind of thing, right? I'm trying to think of oh, okay, yeah. So from personal experience, other things you can do. I've talked about something helpful, maybe at work, if you can ask for adjustments to be made. Talk to your GP. Let them know that you're a carer. Also talk to your local council, get a carer's assessment, because there are some funded, it depends on your council obviously, but there are some funded support services, additional care, equipment, home visits. Like there are other things that are available that a lot of people, when they're launched into this world of being a carer, you wouldn't know, because it's not something we really talk about as a society.
No.
We don't talk about it, despite the fact that most of us at some point or another are going to have to deal with what it is to be a carer for our parents or relatives or whatever, right? And that there needs to be so much more done on that. But anyway, talk to your local council. Do that as soon as you possibly can, because you might find that whether it's extra care or even financial, there might be some ways to offer you some tangible support. Yemi already said the big one, therapy. If you can, get therapy. You are carrying so much right now.
Yeah.
You're tired. You are grieving in a way.
Yeah.
You are under the weight of duty. And Simran, again, I'm basing this on your name. You're, I assume, a South Asian woman. There's also some extra stuff in that, right? Of being within an ethnic minority. Like there are other senses. The weight of duty can be overwhelming, even when nobody's ill. So adding this onto the cultural expectations, girl, I know you must be tired. I'm sure you're afraid. I deal with that. I struggle really badly with fear, because suddenly everything is like, do, and you are struck in the face by the impermanence of life. And it's hard. You can't handle it alone. So get a therapist if you can, and find that place with them where you don't have to be the strong one.
And if you see your GP as well, sometimes they can refer you.
Exactly.
So speak to your GP as well about, you
Support,
don't have to do
talking
it
therapy,
privately.
yeah.
You can actually speak to your GP and see if you can get assistance that way.
Absolutely. And then if there's anything you can do, this is something I'm not consistent with. When I do it, it's good, but I don't always do it because Cara. But see if you can find space to have a tiny, regular ritual, something that is just for you, that's absolutely protected. It could be as short as 10 minutes. It could just be going for a walk. It could be going and grabbing a tea or a coffee. It could be getting up early and just sitting in silence.
It could be eating McDonald's in your car.
It could be eating McDonald's in your car.
Yeah. Or a sandwich shop and just go in your car. Like you don't like anything. It could be anything. Because I'm saying all this because I've done all of these things.
I have spoken to Yami when she was in crash out mode, driving to KFC. And by the end of the chicken and the conversation, my girl was right as rain. And I learned something that day. I said, all I need in this life is a bucket of chicken and like a friend. And a drive-through.
Honestly, I sat in the parking lot of KFC in my car, ranting and raving to Dulcie and eating my chicken. And by the time I was done, I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can absolutely do this.
Yeah. And I felt healed even in that moment. I was like, as if I ate the chicken. I was there like, bang, 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 my mouth is empty. But it felt great. But yeah, find your tiny. But do you see what we're saying around like a small ritual and a friend, a good friend you can put the world to rights really quickly. You can remember yourself, and be present again. There's so much that will try and pull you out of yourself. You've got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. Just finding time to be alone, be present. That'll help. Okay. So listen, I love you, Simran. I'm sending you so much love and respect.
Yes.
If you want to follow up with anything, if there's anything else I can do, if you want to talk from someone who's in a similar spot to you and maybe further down the line in that world, but I'd be more than happy to carry on the conversation. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there was one more thing. I found this charity for civil servants website. So it's cfcs.org.uk, and they essentially have it's a charity that supports current former civil servants as well, and they have a specific category for carers. So help and advice, resources, financial advice, carers passports, civil service workplace adjustments. So it's, you say you work for a public company. See if this is something that can help as well. I'm assuming civil service, but it may not be, but I'm assuming. But have a look at that as well. There's quite a few things here.
Yeah, that looks great. I'm just looking at it now.
You can have like a talk to someone. There's a well-being support team. There's financial. There's your relationship. This is like legal stuff. It just has so many resources just for carers. It may be worth checking that out as well.
Okay, we'll put the link in the show notes so you can take a look at that. Anyone else listening who has been in this situation, if you've got some kind words or advice for Simran, please hop in the comments on Spotify and share your pearls of wisdom. And while you're there, give us a 5-star rating review so that other people can find us too. Again, Simran, good luck. Take care of yourself.
Good luck.
And I think that is us for today.
That is us.
All right. Bye.
Bye.